Hi, I'm Joey.
And I'm Frankie.
Joey and Frankie were the best of friends. Even though they belonged to different classes, their friendship had proven to be much stronger. During each recess, they would meet up to talk about their latest ideas. As it turned out, the boys had quite the affinity for pulling pranks.
I say we paint the school red.
Proposed Frankie.
Principal Lily will surely give us detention.
Joey dismissed the idea.
And where are we going to find so much paint anyway?
The boys churned their little minds trying to come up with the perfect prank, but they just could not think of anything that was remotely interesting. Maybe it was for the best. They had gotten into trouble once before, so skipping over any pranks would have been a good idea, especially since Principal Lily was keeping a close eye on them. Out in the schoolyard, Joey and Frankie noticed a little boy. He seemed awfully lonely, as none of the other children wanted to play with him.
He must be a new student,
remarked Frankie. Joey and Frankie approached the lonely boy and introduced themselves. Georgie was his name, and he was indeed new to their school. Georgie seemed really happy that he had found someone to play with him. The two boys, however, had other plans.
You can be our friend if you go into the abandoned factory at the edge of town,
uttered the two boys in chorus.
If this will make us friends, then all right,
agreed Georgie unexpectedly. Georgie seemed so desperate to make friends that he never asked about the abandoned factory that sat at the edge of town. When the local economy began to plummet, all the workers were laid off until the factory was eventually shut down. In time, the derelict site became the source of many ghostly rumors and creepy occurrences. On their way home, the duo wondered if Georgie would be alright. They figured that he would get really scared and turn back. They never thought that he would actually go inside the derelict factory. Then again, Georgie was a transferred student. He had most likely not heard the terrifying rumors. Many such thoughts crossed their mind.
Will Georgie be alright?
Asked Frankie suddenly.
He will get a few scares, but nothing more,
responded Joey. Feeling guilty, Joey and Frankie turned their bikes around and headed toward the abandoned site. If something happened to Georgie, they knew that the blame would fall on them. They had to find him come what may. When confronted with such a frightful sight, the boys dithered a bit, but in the end, they plucked up their courage and journeyed on. After opening a huge rusty door that creaked and groaned, the two boys found themselves in a huge hall full of strange machines and cauldrons. The atmosphere was heavy and unsettling. Everything was covered in the patina of a bygone age, when the factory saw hundreds of workers toiling away. Now everything was motionless and covered in darkness, the moonlight faintly peering through the tiny windows. If anyone was aware of all the spooky stories that surrounded the abandoned factory, it was definitely the two boys. Some of the tall tales they themselves had told. The loud noise followed by a huge plume of smoke brought the dormant machines back to life, frightening the pair. In their confusion, they split up, each ending up in one of the rooms that ran parallel to the main hall.
Georgie, are you in here?
Asked Joey in a whisper.
No, Batoya.
Meanwhile, Frankie had entered what appeared to be the cafeteria, with dusty tables and lit a straw across it. The flickering neon lights gave off a sense of uneasiness.
Is anyone there?
Wondered Frankie. frightened and cold, the two somehow ended back in the middle of the huge hall.
You two are great.
A strange voice swiftly enveloped Joey and Frankie. They looked around, but they could not see anyone. The voice was coming from nowhere and everywhere. At one point, they noticed a bright figure. It was none other than Georgie.
We're
We're
so
so
sorry. Please forgive
Please
us.
forgive us.
Cried the two boys.
Oh, I was just happy to have some playmates.
Chuckled Georgie, unaffected by the bizarre happenings. Joey, Frankie and their new friend Georgie happily went home, promising to meet the next day at school. Frankie and Joey could not wait to meet up with their new friend. They visited every classroom in the school and asked every teacher. No one had even heard of Georgie, let alone seen him. Finally, they went to Principal Lily. Surely, if anyone knew about the new kid, it would be her.
Principal Lily, where might we find a new transfer student Georgie?
Asked the two in unison.
I'm sorry to say, but no one by this name attends our school.
Responded the principal, a bit perplexed. None of the boys understood what was going on. In the midst of this terrible confusion, Principal Lily took out an old yearbook from her desk and began flipping through the pages.
Is this the boy whom you are seeking?
Asked Principal Lily. Principal Lily explained that the young boy in the picture had been her classmate. He too enjoyed playing pranks, but she never minded since she had a soft spot for him. On one fateful day, he went inside the old factory to pull a prank, never to come out.
It must have been a different boy.
Principal Lily said with a heavy heart. Joey and Frankie gave each other a glance, saddened by what their principal had told them. They wondered if everything had been just a dream. As Principal Lily led the boys down the hallway to their classrooms, a bright light stopped them in their tracks.
Georgie, where have you been?
Cried out together. The two boys immediately went to their friend, delighted by the reunion. Meanwhile, Principal Lily tried her best to make sense of it all.
Georgie, is that really you?
Asked Principal Lily timidly.
It sure is Lily.
Responded Georgie. Suddenly, Principal Lily reverted to the little girl who had a fondness for her former classmate.
I wanted to play with my new friends,
said Georgie amusingly.
Always up to your tricks. Forget it. I'm just glad to see you.
Replied Principal Lily happily.
I have to go now,
announced Georgie apologetically. When the light finally subsided, Georgie was nowhere to be seen. Only a faint voice could be heard.
everyone. Thank you for playing with me.